Hi, everybody. Welcome again to our session today. I want to thank you all for attending. This is a session on some of the new features, new bells and whistles, new add-ons, some old add-ons within Practice Perfect. We just figured this was a good way to kind of bring everybody up to speed on some of the things that we're doing. Some of you may be using some of these already. Some of these may be brand new features to you. This is my name, Steve Presement. I'll be conducting the session today. Again, your phones are all muted, which means that I cannot hear you. Other people cannot hear you. We do this so we're not getting interference from kind of your office noise in the background. If you do need to chat with us, there is a chat window on the right-hand side of your screen. You can type questions into that window if you need to. I will be checking questions periodically. They kind of come in while I'm doing this. So what I'm going to do is kind of after each section, I'll go back and take a look at the questions and I will address them. If the questions are a little bit too specific for this particular session, I will have someone reach out to you afterwards to review. So again, we're going to be reviewing some of the newest add-ons to Practice Perfect. A couple things I want to point out just before we get going, just a couple things to bring you up to date on. A couple key websites that we're going to take a look at. There's two websites that a lot of our clinics may not be aware of. One of them, let me just grab my little drawing tool here. One of them is our Learning Center, Practice Perfect Learning Center, and that is at www.practiceperfectemr.com/learning center. We're going to take a look at that in a moment. And we also have our Release Center. When we do new releases, when updates are made, those updates are all also listed here at practiceperfectemr.com/releases. So these are two websites you may or may not know about. I'll show them to you. We'll just very quickly sort of get into, I'm going to be doing a bunch of jumping around here, by the way. I apologize. Let me just jump down here. Where are we here? There we are. So just to take you through a couple of these websites, just so you know that they're there. Good time for Firefox to decide to update. So for example, we have our Learning Center. In the Learning Center, this is where we post all of our new videos, all of our new instructions, anything like that. But in this Learning Center, we've added two things that you may want to be aware of. Number one is we have a webinar section. So this webinar will be recorded. Next week, we will post it in here as well. So if you have anyone that wants to see it or someone who hasn't, someone else, if you want to see it again, it will be in here under the webinar section. We also are posting our newsletter. Hopefully you are all getting our newsletters, reading our newsletters. They come out every 2 months. The next one will be coming out in May 2018. We just mailed one a couple weeks ago. So newsletters and webinars are all contained in here. Again, here's the website. If you want to get to the website off of our main website, it is right here. This little section called tutorials will take you right to the Learning Center. So all kinds of good videos on here, some new videos about creating customized documents. We're adding to these literally every week. The other website I want to talk about that I had mentioned was our Release Center. Where are we here? Release Center website. And again, www.practiceperfectemr.com/releases. This is where all of the information about our new updates are available. You can see if you're on the most current version. They're all listed here. I can click on any one of these releases and I can see exactly what was changed, updated, corrected, whatever the case happens to be on each one of these updates. This one that we just did is a fair-sized release. I can also search by a certain date, what's new for a certain number of days. Maybe I want to see what's new with reporting that's been done over the past little while. So there's a number of different ways that you can look at at what's going on. So again, I encourage you to visit these websites as well. We just like to talk about those before we get into the actual presentation itself. Now, the agenda today, let me go back to PowerPoint here and we'll get into this here. Our agenda today is we're going to talk about a number of features that, again, some of you may be aware of, some of you may not be aware of, that are available within the software. First of all, integrated faxing we're going to talk about. This is a brand new feature that we've introduced about a month ago. We're going to talk about home exercise programs, the home exercise program that we do integrate with. We're going to talk, get into a bit, show you a bit about that. We're going to talk about appointment reminders. Many of you are using appointment reminders already, text, email, phone call. We're going to talk a bit about that. We're going to talk about the ability for clients to book their own appointments, where we are with that, what that looks like. We're going to talk about another new service that we're offering, which is the client self-service forms, clients being able to fill out their own forms online. And then we're going to talk about something brand new that hasn't been released yet called the Wired Client, a brand new initiative that we're working on as well. We're going to talk a bit about that. Again, at the end of each section, I will prompt for for questions, anything like that. So just before we get into things, let me just jump back down here. There we go. Before we jump into things, does anybody have any questions right off the bat? Anything that you want to ask? Again, use the chat window. I'll just give you guys a moment before we start into our integrated faxing. Okay, very good. I'll keep watching that chat window. Now, integrated faxing, brand new feature. What this allows you to do is fax any Practice Perfect report, note, canned, or custom document directly from within Practice Perfect. Instead of having to print out daily notes and walk them over to the fax machine, print out an eval, walk over to the fax machine, create a cover letter, drop it in the machine, wait for it to go, that can all be done right now from Practice Perfect. You can also fax any document through a web portal or through your email as well. So if you want to email someone a document but have it converted into a fax, when it gets to the other end, we can do that as well. These are now up and running in Practice Perfect. What we are working on imminently is being able to fax any document directly through Practice Perfect. So for example, if you want to fax, let's say a Word document, a PDF document, part of the activities by document, that can be faxed as well. A question has come in from, let me just move my window over here, from Deborah. Deborah wants to know if you can fax invoices as well. Yes, you can fax invoices directly from Practice Perfect. Any report created by Practice Perfect, and invoices are just reports, can be faxed as well right from the system. There is a cost for this. The reason there's a cost for this is it's an outside service. You know, we do use phone lines in the background, all that kind of stuff. Doesn't use your phone lines, but we have sort of overhead to make this work. The cost for the outbound faxing is 5 cents per page. We bill them in advance in 1,000 page increments at $50. So basically what happens is you pay $50, you get 1,000 pages. When you use up that 1,000 pages, you're charged another $50. There's no sign-up fee, there's no contract, there's no minimum, nothing like that. So basically, this is available to you now. If you want more information about this, you can certainly contact me, support, or Matt. Matt is actually on the line today. Matt is heading up the whole fax initiative. Just to show you how it works, kind of an interesting little feature here. So I'm going to just jump over to Practice Perfect. So let's say, for example, that we want to fax this daily note off to a client. And the way it works is anything that you can print, you can fax, just like the question came in about invoices. I'm going to go over here to print this daily note. I'm going to go over to printers, and basically what we've done is we've added a new printer called Practice Perfect Fax. As soon as I say I want to fax something, what happens is my little print button changes into a fax button. So I'm going to say, yep, I want to fax this document out. It's going to ask me who this fax should go to. Now we know who their doctor is. We know who their adjuster is. We know who the patient is. So if the contact is already part of the client's record, you don't have to look up phone numbers or anything like that. It drops down automatically. You can fax to anybody. If someone is not in there, that's fine. You can put in a fax number as well. So I'm going to send it off to their doctor, Dr. Adams. I'm going to put a note in here. Hey, doc, how are you? You know, here's the eval, or whatever it happens to be. Now, that's the cover page. The other nice thing about the faxing is that we can also add it to the contact log, which means that we have a record that the fax was sent. We can also assign a follow-up date. Let's say, for example, we sent this eval off to the doctor, and in a week we want to follow up with it, be reminded that that we have to follow up on this eval, see if the doc got it. So you can automatically create a contact log entry for the fact the fax was sent, and B, have a reminder pop up whenever to say you want to follow up on it. So how does the fax get sent? We hit OK, literally in the background, takes a couple seconds, the fax gets sent. Just wait a couple seconds there, the fax is done, it's gone. If I was to look at the contact log for the patient, you'll see that the actual fax went out the door. We have a reference number just for internal tracking, that kind of stuff as well. You will get an email back that tells you whether or not the fax was successful. So 5 minutes goes by, whatever, you'll get a fax that says either the transmission went through, no problem, or there was an error with the transmission. Phone number was wrong, busy signal, whatever the case happens to be. Just to show you what one of these fax looks like, let me just get back to here. Sorry for the jumping around. This is what the fax looks like at the other end. On their fax machine, what they're going to get is a fax with your clinic name on top, your logo, name of your clinic. We do the cover sheet for you, the fax number, the date, the name of the recipient, number of pages, the actual comment that you had typed in, and then there's the whatever footer you want to put on here. This is all confidential, and then the actual fax goes through. So this is what they would see. This is physically what the fax would look like at the other end. So we've had a lot of good feedback with this service. It's going very, very well. Certainly cost effective between the price of printing paper, toner, waiting for the fax machine, logging the fact the fax has been sent. This has been a very popular add-on in the past couple of months. Just before we get into the next topic here, any questions about this particular service? Again, our main point of contact here is Matt. He's the one heading this up, getting everybody set up. Very easy to get going. All you need is an upgrade, which is no charge, and then one little bit of information has to get set up and practice perfect. Any questions about outbound faxing? I'll give everybody a minute just before we get into kind of our next little topic here. Okay. By the way, we'll be probably about 45 minutes in total. Last session went till about a quarter to the hour, so depends how many questions there are, that sort of thing, just in case you're trying to figure out your timing here. Next thing we're going to talk about is, come on, a little sensitive on the mouse here, is home exercise software. Many of you are using this already. Some of you are not. PHYSIOTEC is the name of the company that we have integrated with. PHYSIOTEC runs a home exercise application. What this allows you to do is basically creating exercise programs. Patient comes in, they have a certain injury, you can put together an exercise program. There's about 10,000 videos and exercises, pictures built into PHYSIOTEC. You pick what you want to do, and then these exercise programs can be printed and handed to your patients, or they can be emailed to your patients, including video. You can upload your own pictures, you can upload your own video, you can certainly make comments about the exercises, reps and sets and all that kind of stuff as well. Nice thing about PHYSIOTEC is, first of all, it can be launched directly from Practice Perfect. We're going to talk about that in a moment, so you don't need to go outside to a different program. Secondly, once you've created an exercise program for a patient with PHYSIOTEC, it can be brought directly back into the activities by document for the patient as well. So you will actually have a record in their documents of the exercise programs that you've given to them, as well as the record you would have in PHYSIOTEC. Another cost. Again, they're a completely external company. Their pricing structure depends on a number of things, the modules you want, the number of therapists you have, can be number of locations. Pricing really is kind of all over the map depending upon what you need. I typically see clinics coming on, give or take, at around the $50 a month rate, depending their size, what functions they need. PHYSIOTEC is also offering a 2-month trial period to Practice Perfect users at no charge, no commitment. So if you want to take a look, you want to try it out, you want to see if it's going to help, you want to see if it's better than what you have, or certainly better than drawing the stickman figures, take a look. It does a nice professional job. It makes the clinic look good. Contact for PHYSIOTEC, either us, and we'll put you in touch with them, or you can contact Etienne at physiotech.ca and mention you're with Practice Perfect and he'll take you through it. Just to show you a bit about it, and I am not a physiotech expert by any stretch of the imagination, so I'll show you what I can show you here. But basically what happens with physiotech is there's two key areas of integration. Number one, when a new patient comes into your clinic, you can automatically, using that little icon right there, register that client with PHYSIOTEC. It'll take whatever we know about the patient, their birthday, their demographic information, whatever's relevant, and send it to the PHYSIOTEC application. So there's no double entry into PHYSIOTEC. And then if we do want to actually launch PHYSIOTEC, get into PHYSIOTEC, let's say for this particular patient, for Carol, she's our highlighted patient here. We have the patient on the screen. We're going to click on that little icon, that little dumbbell icon. I know it's a bit small on GoToMeeting, and that's going to take us directly into Carol's exercise programs within PHYSIOTEC. We'll just wait for a moment to come up. And again, I'm not an expert with PHYSIOTEC, but let's say, for example, Carol's coming in and, she's having a shoulder issue, shoulder rotation issue, and she's looking for more range of motion. And she's really looking for something that's, maybe sitting because she's having trouble standing, that sort of thing. It will suggest basically exercises for you that are relevant to, what you've asked for, whatever the case happens to be. These exercises can be added to an exercise program. I want to select them all, and I want to add them to a program, that sort of thing. So you can create programs, and again, these programs can be videos. You can put your own comments in, all that sort of thing. Again, I'm not an expert with PHYSIOTEC, but they're certainly happy to take you through it. Once the program is created, again, in our activities by document, in that whole area where we are tracking all the documents, those programs can be re-imported. I believe this might be one of them. I know it's kind of a silly name, but we'll take a look at it. This is what they look like when they are back inside of Practice Perfect, and you get a bit of an idea as to what the the exercise program looks like. So here's kind of an example of one. Your logo, your name, the patient's information, and the actual exercises that that were recommended for the patient, with your comments or their comments, whatever the case happens to be. So again, if there is any interest in that, let me just close off PHYSIOTEC here. Please give, where is our slideshow here? Oh, wrong icon. Sorry about that. There we go. Please drop a note to us or to Etienne. Before we get into our next add-on, any other questions about PHYSIOTEC at all, or anything we've talked about so far? Again, please type it in a little box down in your GoToMeeting window if there's any questions at all. I'll wait a moment before we move on to the next topic. Okay, so next we want to talk about appointment reminders. We do have in the system, in Practice Perfect, and again, a number of you are using these, but a number of you aren't, and there's really no reason why you shouldn't be. It's a very, very beneficial feature, is we do have the ability for you to send automated appointment reminders to your clients. Now, we do handle email. Email is internal. Email, we don't use anything external, but you also do have the ability to send text and phone call reminders to your patients in advance of their appointments. Maybe you want to send them out a day before, 2 days before. Maybe you want to send it out 2 days before and a day before, or the morning of, that sort of thing. Reminder Call can handle all of those. Reminder Call is the company we have chosen to integrate with for all things reminder. Seamless, fully automated text and phone call reminders. What that means is once you set it up, you don't have to remember to do anything. Your reminders will get sent out completely on their own without you having to press any buttons. Again, you define how often, how much in advance, what method they're receiving. You can also do things like blanket cancels. For example, let's say your clinic is closed for the day because of a snowstorm or a particular therapist is sick. They can sort of blanket everybody, or just, by criteria, by therapist, to let everybody know about the appointment. Now, users can reply to cancel or confirm. So with Reminder Call, if it's a text, they can reply. If it's a phone message, they can press a button on their phone, 1 for confirm, 2 for cancel. We actually don't recommend this. And the reason we don't recommend this is there are a couple of reasons why. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this. Number one is, let's say a patient doesn't confirm. Does that mean they're coming? Does that mean they've canceled? If they don't show up and they say to you, Well, I didn't confirm. Doesn't that mean I canceled with you in case you're charging for no-shows? So I'm not a fan of the confirm thing personally, unless you're prepared to hunt down every patient. And I'm also not a fan of the cancel thing. I think a patient shouldn't have to phone the clinic to cancel, but it is there if you want it. I'm just not a big fan of it. So the cost for this, again, why is there a cost? It's an outside company. They incur expenses for sending out texts and phone calls as well. It's credit based. What that means is every text message counts as a credit. So I'm sending out a text message to remind somebody, that's a credit. 30-second phone call, that's a credit. So what you're doing is you're purchasing credits, volume credits. If you're sending out less than 1,000 of these things, they're 9 cents each. Between 5 and 10,000, they're 7 cents each, and there's different scales. So what typically happens is you're going to buy in advance. I'm going to buy 2,000 credits, 3,000 credits. It might take me a year to use them. It might take me 2 years to use them. It might take me a week to use them. But that's basically how the pricing works. You're buying credits in advance. As an example, let me just move my window out of the way here. As an example, let's say that you have 100 appointments per week. So 100 appointments per week, even if we take the most expensive option here, costs you $9 a week. So basically, it's going to cost you $9 a week to send every single one of your patients a text message or a phone call. But those 100 patients, even if you're charging sort of on the lower end in your particular area, represents about $5,000 in revenue, assuming $50 a visit, $100 a visit. So basically what's happening is you're spending $9 to hopefully get in $5,000. And even if one appointment comes in as a result of the service. So let's say that only one guy out of everybody actually reacted to this and came in when they kind of forgot about their appointment. You've already paid for the service 5 times over. So I'm a really big fan of this for driving more revenue through the door and helping patients comply with their appointments. It's a nice, no-brainer, no work involved, easy, very inexpensive way to generate business as well. If you do want more information about reminder calls, Jolt is actually the owner of the company. He's our contact at Reminder Call. That's Jolt's email address. He can give you more information. Very easy to get you going on it. And again, you can contact us as well if you wish. So that's up to you. Either way, we can deal with it. There's not much to show you with Reminder Call. I like to be able to show you something, but it's very difficult to kind of show something where it's just a reminder going out the door. Any questions about reminder calls before we get into our next topic? Again, if you can type them down in the bottom here, I'll give you guys a minute just to see if there's any questions at all about reminder call. And a number of you are actually, any questions is there. So we'll give you a couple moments here. Next thing we're going to talk about is client self-booking. Let me just get back in here. Client self-booking. So we do, and some of you are using the service, and some of you are aware of it, some of you are not aware of it. We do have the ability built into Practice Perfect to have clients book their own appointments, to be able to go in, see available times, ask for an appointment, or just basically pick an appointment and book it. Right now, this works with existing patients only. Existing patients, existing clients already registered in Practice Perfect can book their own appointments online, linked from your website. So basically what happens is if we give you a link, that link would go into your website, might say, I want to book now, something like that, and it would take them right into our booking system, which ties directly into your schedule. Existing clients can also look at previous and future appointments if they're not sure when their appointment is. New clients can't do it yet for new clients. If we don't know who a new patient is, we can't get them book an appointment into the system, not yet, but it is underway. There are a couple concerns with brand new patients, why we can't book new appointments yet or new patients yet. Number one, who should a new patient be seeing? He's coming in for a back injury and he picks your neck guy, something like that. So patients may not be the right people to dictate who they book with. We don't know how long that first appointment should be, what kind of service they're coming in for. They want to see a chiropractor, physical therapist. So again, We're working through some of those logistics with new clients. Obviously, it's an option. You don't have to open it up to new patients, but we are working on that as well. But right now, it's working like an absolute charm for existing clients. We're going to be expanding this at some point in time to be able to have patients pay their bills online, that sort of thing as well. Cost for this. Nothing, zero. It's something if you want we can turn on for you with not too much effort at all, and there's no cost to it whatsoever. If you do want to get going on this, just contact our support department, support@practiceperfectemr.com. And again, down the road, account statements, bill payments, probably early next year. That's kind of the last phase of the patient portal. So just to show you what this looks like, because I don't know if many of you have seen this or not, what happens is we give you a website, and I'm going to just jump into it right here. We give you a website for your a link for your website to put in here. And here's what we'll be facing the client. The client, your patient is going to see this. They're going to see your name, your address information, that sort of thing. At Warren's right now, it's saying it's only to, available for registered clients. Patient is asked to enter 3 pieces of information. Any one of their email addresses. Let's say they have multiple email addresses with you. And phone number. There was a question that came in. I'll deal with it in a moment. They're going to be asked to enter any one of their phone numbers. They're going to be asked to enter their birthday. So if they have those 3 pieces of information, they will be able to then continue. So again, they log in. They're going to see your logo, not our logo. That will be your logo, your name, your address. They can either view the appointments they have booked already, or they can book a new appointment. As an example, we're going to hit View Appointments. And that's going to take us to their existing appointments. So I can see future appointments. I can see all appointments. I can see past appointments. So they can look up old appointments and print these if they want for any particular reason. But the biggie that people are using this for, obviously, is being able to book brand new appointments. So I'm a patient. I'm an existing patient. Again, I will deal with the questions in a moment here. I'm an existing patient, and I do want to book an appointment. Well, and this may answer some of the questions. First of all, what happens is at present, we know that this patient has 2 incidents. One was with Daniel, one was with her. Maybe one was physical therapy, one was massage. So first we pick who the appointment should be with, which therapist who I've seen before. Duration. Duration can either be fixed. For example, with each patient, you can say, this guy gets a 45-minute appointment, and typically that might happen with physical therapy, but you can also make it variable, and this depends on the individual incident. So why would it be variable? Well, let's say he's coming in for massage, and he wants a 30-minute, a 60-minute, a 45-minute. So again, duration can be fixed by incident, duration can be variable by incident. They pick the therapist. You're going to see a bit of a biography of that particular, little blurb about that particular therapist if you want as an option. And I want to come in on the 30th. So I'm clicking on the 30th. Well, all it's going to show me is the available times for the 30th. This is a live link to the, to your schedule. It's literally up to the moment. So I'm going to say, you know what, I want to grab 11 o'clock in the morning. Okay. So here I am, Steve. I'm going to book with Herb at 11 in the morning. It's going to say, that's great. I've selected Friday the 30th, 11 o'clock in the morning with Herb at the InTouch Clinic with the address. Anything you'd like us to know? Yeah, I am in a lot of pain. Okay, confirm selection. There are 2 options with the booking system. Number 1, appointments can automatically be recorded in the schedule without any intervention from the clinic, or you can say the clinic needs to be able to confirm the appointment, but has not, but it can't be booked without that confirmation, in which case the patient will get an email back. So again, appointments can actually be booked right away, no intervention required, or appointments can require confirmation. So let's go into Practice Perfect and see what that appointment looked like on the 30th. So here we have Practice Perfect open here, and I'm going to go to the 30th. Where am I here? Let's just, was it the 30th? I forgot what day I booked it for. The 30th. There we go. So on the 30th, first of all, a reminder will pop up and let you know. It just takes a moment for it to pop up here. But you can see here on the 30th, all of a sudden, I have an appointment with Steve, okay, and the little icon, little lock icon, that means this appointment is being held. In my case, I have this set that the appointment requires confirmation. It's not automatic. So that appointment's being held. No one else can book in there. The spot is being held. We have something here called web appointment listing. This is going to show me, and again, you'll get a reminder about this. This is going to show me all the appointments that are waiting to be approved or not approved. If I say, yeah, this one's good, I want to book it, what happens is it's going to disappear from my list of pending unapproved appointments. The patient's going to get an email right away that says you've been approved, you're in, and this appointment now becomes a pending, a regular old pending appointment. Little picture of a guy. I know it's tiny on GoToMeeting. Little picture of a guy there. That means that the patient booked the appointment. So you can see which appointments were patient booked and not booked. What's my little comment in here? Well, that's the one that came from the patient. Yeah, I'm in a lot of pain. So the patient's able to communicate with you directly. You can see why they're coming in for. And again, if you don't pick that confirmation option, it would have actually appeared in the schedule as a pending appointment without you having to do anything. So this does work quite well. Lots of things we're learning about this. The more this is out there, people want all kinds of options. I don't want this patient being able to book remotely. Patient hasn't been here for a long time, and I want to, once they've been discharged, I don't want them being able to book without phoning us or coming in as a brand new patient. We get all kinds of requests, and some of these we can deal with, and some of them are very tricky. Some of them are difficult to deal with. Like, I don't want to do more than 3 assessments a day. Well, that's very difficult for us to deal with. So again, that's why sometimes having that pre-approval on file helps. So there are a couple questions I'm going to take a look at. I might have addressed some of those, but if there's any other questions about that, please let me know. So we have a couple questions here. I'm going to just go through them. And if you have any other questions, please let me know. From Rebecca, for patients that are massage, we have them booked in a 45-minute spot for a 35-minute massage. Okay, it's almost impossible to explain to them because there's something called cleanup time, I would imagine. Can we do that? Yes, you can. There is an option in the system of saying when I book this particular service, there is a 15-minute or whatever cleanup time. So you can have 30 minutes show up on the schedule, but it knows we're booking 45 and will only allow them to book for 45. So that is something that is already built in, a little hard to go into here, but yes, we can accommodate that. Hopefully the answer to the question. Kathy from LifeSpring, can we restrict the length of an appointment for a patient who's existing but hasn't been in for a long time? I talked a bit about that. If a patient is discharged, and if they haven't been in for a long time, hopefully they're discharged, then they would be treated essentially as a new patient because they probably need a new assessment all over again. There is no right or wrong answer with that. Unfortunately, but that's one way we could do it. If they're discharged, they'd be treated as a new patient. I wouldn't be allowed to book, but there's no way to basically say if someone hasn't been here for 2 months, they're treated a certain way. That's a little difficult to do. Any other questions about patient self-booking? Again, this opens up sometimes a whole can of worms with the way clinics operate. But then again, any questions whatsoever about this, let me know before we move on to our next topic. I'll give you guys a moment just to ask away. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about, let me go back to PowerPoint here. I always manage to pick the wrong one. There we go. Is we're going to talk about client self. Can someone contact me about how to fix that after? That's Rebecca, I'm guessing, with the patient self-booking. Rebecca, I just need to know what clinic. Do we know what clinic you are from? Bear with me for a moment here. I don't. Rebecca, if you can just let me know what clinic you're from, I can have someone reach out to you afterwards and describe how that works. So let's see if there's any other questions. No. So Rebecca, just let me know what clinic you're from. Darcy Bain. Good. Okay, very good. We'll have someone give you a shout. I have you down as Beck, not Rebecca. That's how I didn't know. Okay. So next thing we're going to talk about is self-serve forms. This is something also brand new and something we're doing a lot of work with. It's really kind of in its infancy. Clients can now complete their forms online. Intake, consent, health, whatever you want can be completed online, either from your website or from an iPad in your lobby before the patient is seen. They don't need the clipboard anymore with the papers. These are your forms, totally customizable with signatures. We're going to take a look at what these look like in a minute as well. Number of different phases to this project. The first phase that's up and running right now, works well, is completed forms are emailed to the clinic. As soon as I, as a patient, fill out the form online, blah, 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 sign it, click the submit button, they are sent to the clinic's email. Once it's in the clinic's email, as a PDF document, they can be imported into the activities by document. That's kind of our first phase of this, just to make sure we like the process, we like the way the forms are working. The next thing that we're working on very soon, now that we have this running fine, is you will be able to bring forms directly into activities by document. So instead of being notified in your email, you'll be notified in Practice Perfect that there are forms waiting for you. You'll be able to see them and bring them directly into the activities by document without having to kind of save them as first. The last thing, a little bit, not too much down the road, but the last thing that's going to be a big boon is the ability for intake forms to be turned into actual clients. Patient fills out an intake form, your intake form, online, and once they submit it and you review it, it'll actually take the information from that intake form, their name, their address, their phone number, their birthday, and create a new patient in Practice Perfect. That's kind of our final phase of that. Both will be done summer, fall this year. Cost. There is a cost for this. Why is there a cost for this? Because again, it's an outside service company called Reachlight that we're using. They have to host the forms. There's a cost for this. So we are charging $39 per month, and that's for up to 20 different documents. So you might have an intake form and a health form and maybe there's a form for workers' compensation or a form for something else. Up to 20 documents can be accommodated, up to 20 pages each, for $39 a month ongoing. There is a one-time initial setup fee. This is us basically preparing your customized forms. So these are your forms, and that's $30 a page. So let's say you have three-page forms that you have people to fill out. That's 9 pages, $270 one time. Pricing is not going to increase once the integration has been completed, but if people sign up for the service after we've completed integration, if they haven't come on in the early days, there may be a price increase. So we're trying to encourage people to come on now at a lower price. If there are any questions about this, if you do want to look at it, if you do want to move forward with something like this, Michelle is the contact, Michelle at practiceperfect.emr.com. And Michelle's on the line with us as well today, or contact support, that sort of thing. So just to show you a good example of how one of our clients has actually integrated this into their system. Let me just run back over here to my web browser here. We're going to go to one of our clients. It's a patient, or it's a clinic called SET Physical Therapy. They've done a really nice job of integrating these forms directly into their system. So again, SET is one of our clients down in New York, actually the Eastern Seaboard. They have a number of different locations. So on their website, they have a link called Forms. Okay, and again, it can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be in Forms, and they have multiple locations. So I'm going to pick their, say, their New York location. And as soon as I do that, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 forms. Notice of privacy, patient information, that sort of thing. So just to show you what this looks like is I'm going to click on patient information. This is just your website linking to a form. Simple. We give you the site that it has to go to. And here's an example. Again, this is SET's form. This is their design, patient name, address. You can make fields mandatory. You can make them into drop-downs. You can do everything you want. You can make them even conditional. This section only gets filled out if that happens. A date field has to be a date. And again, they can actually physically sign these documents as well at the bottom. As soon as you hit the submit button, that's when it gets emailed to you, and that's ultimately where it's going to bring it right into Practice Perfect. So again, SET's done a really nice job with this. Again, any questions about this? Let's go back to PowerPoint here. Direct them to Michelle, and she can take you through the whole process. So before we get into our kind of last big topic, any questions about the integrated forms? Anything at all? Give you guys a moment here, and then we'll get on to our last thing. So the last thing I want to talk about, something brand new that we are working on, a completely new system that does tie into Practice Perfect. It's called the Wired Client. It's an automated text and email system with two-way text communication. Oh, the costs. Are all the costs in US dollars? No, the costs are in whatever country you are in. If you are in the US, it's US dollars. If you are in Canada, it is Canadian for this particular, for the forms. Okay, so the wire client, I'll just any other client questions? No, okay, the wire client. So this is basically a brand new system we're working on. And let me describe to you, oh, we have a little spelling mistake there. Let me describe to you exactly what this is. What this will allow you to do is communicate directly with your clients, with your patients via text. Text is really the one that we're kind of pushing here because that's the really good back and forth one. With any one of your patients, you can come up with a campaign. Let's say, for example, you have a back patient, and I want all of my back patients to get a text the first night that they show up for treatment after their assessment. And that text says, hey, it was your first day. Congratulations for coming in. You're on a road to recovery. And then after a week or maybe their third visit, we want a text to go out, very personalized. Hey, Jim, it's Steve, your therapist. It's all personalized. It's been a week. We really hope you're feeling better. If not, please let us know. Maybe after when they're discharged, congratulations, Jim, you've finished your treatment. We hope you're feeling well. We'd like you to fill out the survey. And then maybe a month after they've been here, hope everything was great. Please, please refer us, click on this link here, that sort of thing. So it's an automated campaign of texting based on patient type. You may not want to communicate that way with maybe auto accident patients, something like that. So it's basically based on what they have come in for. What's nice about that is clients automatically receive these messages. Once you set up a campaign, they just get the message. That's it. Simple as that. You don't even have to know this is going on in the background. But here is the nice thing. They can reply to those messages. They get their message on the first night that says, I hope you're feeling fine. And they reply, actually, I'm not feeling fine. I'm really quite sore. I'm not sure if I'm going to come back. You get those messages on your computers in the clinic. So they're able to reply to any one of the messages that you're sending, and they're all automatically. You can converse, and those conversations are retained. I'm going to show you what this looks like in a minute. We're going to give every Practice Perfect user a trial of this for several months once it's done. We're looking at starting trials very, very soon. We're about maybe 3-4 weeks away before our initial testing on this. Probably around $50 a month plus a text cost. We're still looking at that, but it won't be. We're going to try and keep it as inexpensive as we can. For any information about that, if you want to be part of the trial, if you want to if you want more information or to help us test it out, that sort of thing, Matt at practiceperfectemr.com or support. So let me show you a little bit about what this looks like. Totally web-based, ties right into Practice Perfect, so there's no double entry. Let me just grab it here. It's called the wired client, as in the client being wired in. So we're going to log into it. I'm going to just log in with Matt's login here. This can be used, by the way, to communicate with staff and with your patients. So again, what happens here is we have a nice little dashboard that shows up when you first log on, number of active patients, number of branches if you have, number of staff, number of clients, any messages waiting for you will show up on the dashboard as well. We can set up our campaigns. So for example, I can say that we have what's a good example here? We have a campaign called the back campaign, and the back campaign is this message that goes out when this happens. When it's their birthday, they get this message. When they've missed their appointment, they get this message. When they haven't been here for too long, they get this message. Their first visit, they get this message. We set up the staff. Your clients are all in here. These are all your patients with their information that come over from Practice Perfect. So just to show you kind of the texting aspect of this here, and again, it's hard to show because I can't text to your individual phones. I don't know who you are. But for example, let's say I just want to send myself a message, not automatic. I just want to send myself just a message. I'm on here. I'm Matt today. I'm Matt Alexander from the Alexander Physical Therapy Clinic, and I want to send a text to Steve, to me. I'm going to hit chat, and I'm going to get a chat window that comes up, and it's going to say, hey, Steve, how are you feeling today? Okay, and again, this could be automated, and I send it on my cell phone, which I'm going to pick up right now here. On my cell phone right away, I have a message from the clinic that says, hey, Steve, how are you feeling today? I'm on my cell phone right now. I know you can't see that, and I'm going to reply, I'm in pain. Okay, so client thinks they're having a conversation with the therapist, very personal touch. But what happens when it comes back into the system right away is I'm in pain. And then you can actually begin a conversation back and forth with the client on their cell phone, but you're not on your cell phone. It's not the therapist tying up there, giving out their own personal cell phone number or anything like that. So we think this is going to be an interesting way of communicating, engaging the patients, a good way to personalize their experience. And again, the nice thing about that is the messages going out are going to be completely automated. So you don't have to worry about sending them out. They're going to just, unless you want to say something specifically to a client, they're going to go out in the background. They're going to get all these nice little messages and reminders and how are you feeling and haven't seen you for 2 weeks, that sort of thing. So that is where we are going with this. And just watch our newsletters for more information about that. Any comments about that? Any questions about that? We welcome them in the chat window. So again, I'll just watch the chat window for any questions about that or anything else. The wire client was our last thing we wanted to cover off today. So again, I'm going to stick around on the line here for a couple minutes in case any questions do come in. But if anyone's got any questions or comments, please feel free. Again, I do want to thank you for coming today. If you have any ideas for these seminars, if you have any ideas for the format of these seminars, please don't hesitate to send them along. If there's other topics you'd like to see covered, don't be shy. If there's a better way of doing this, please let us know. If there's a better way of communicating these to you, please let us know. In the meantime, that's all I do have for you guys today. Again, I'll stay on the line for a couple moments for any questions or comments about any of this. And we hope to see you again at future seminars. We don't know what they're going to be yet, but they are going to be probably every couple months. That's our plans. So thanks again. Again, I'll be staying on the line for a couple minutes in case anybody has any questions. You are welcome, everybody.